Mind the audio on this being a little echoey. I'm in a room with a lot of echo. The rest of this video does not contain the same echo that this room has. But all I'm saying is it would be appreciated if you guys did wish me a happy birthday in the comments, as I put a lot of time into this video and I actually recorded this video on the day of my birthday. The last part was put up on my birthday and this part was recorded on my birthday. Hopefully I can get another what if that is also recorded on my birthday. Anyways, enjoy the video. RamiX back for another video. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as it would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, we can begin the video. Though it would also be appreciated if you shared the video to a friend who likes what ifs, or just commented down below, as well. I would appreciate that. With that being said, we can now fully begin the video. What if Naruto had 9 lives? Part 2. Quick recap. In the last part, we basically ended off with a end of ends, kind of. I wouldn't really know how to explain it, but Naruto had basically scared the hell out of Orochimaru, who had tried to enter the village once more after Naruto had already defeated him. Naruto basically said the following, that he will hunt Orochimaru down if he was ever shown his face again in the Leaf Village. Hunt him down and down until he ceases to exist any longer. But with that being said, I feel that is a decent recap. I hope you all are having an amazing day, night, evening, afternoon, anything like that. I just hope you guys are having a good day, and I wish you all good health and good prosperity. Yeah, that's about it, and we can now fully begin the video. RamiX present. After telling Orochimaru these words, Orochimaru would run away from Naruto, running outside of the Leaf's border and leaving, getting out of Naruto's sight, far, far from it. Orochimaru was scared of no man more than he was scared of Naruto. To him, Naruto was the messenger of the devil, somebody who was so... Naruto scared him a lot, is basically what I'm trying to say. With that being said, Naruto would ask Lord Third of another mission. Somewhere he could go to take his mind off of something. And somewhere that was going to be kind of a challenge. And he would. He would let him go to another village. The village was known as Ball Village. The village hidden in balls. The Lord Third would explain how it's not too far off of the Land of Fire's border, that he will be accompanied by 3 Jonin, and due to the fact that it is close to enemy lines and territory, and that it is also a place to entertain yourself. The village, as it's just, is the village hidden in balls, and that is because they play games: soccer, ball, football, basketball, tennis ball, volleyball, golf ball, you get the point. But they also have many circuses that run all day and all night. With that being said, Naruto would accept. Gladly, even. It was a C to B rank mission. Possible A if a threat was to truly occur, due to enemy nations, of course. And Naruto gladly accepted this. With that, he would walk to the village with 3 other Jonin, who will stay unnamed for now unless I decide to give them a name later on. Upon arriving in the village, they realized that something was wrong. That something was very, very wrong. And upon talking to the village Kage, Lord, Leader, whatever you want to call it or him, they realized that something was fishy. The man was a slave master. He kept people that he called his pets to do his every bidding. It would be soon that their fates befell the same. They drank water that was given to them, and this water weakened their immune systems, etc., including Naruto, whose healing couldn't even help him. he was left a slave to the village hidden boss leader, whose name was SJ. SJ, or sometimes Asaj, would take Naruto and the three Jonin accompanying him. They would work for him, do his every bidding. They would make houses for him, clean for him, etc. That's all they did for him. And if they didn't, then he would beat them. It was a really sad fate. He would get beat up by SJ almost every day. Their wills were strong. But Prince, one of the Jonin, he broke. And soon after, Otis, another one of the Jonin, he broke too. They worked every day. It was the same. You work, you build, you get fed, not little, but you do get fed. You wash yourself if you have the time, and then you continue to work. Disobedience is seen as a threat to SJ, so if you are disobedient in any way, then you are hit, beaten, etc. You are nothing. Whatever pride you had before going there, it's stripped away by the fear that you get from being there. From the fear that you get from being under SJ's boot. And he wasn't just a man who poisoned his slaves and then was able to toss them around like ragdolls. He was truly powerful. He was as strong as any Kage is, and easily was stronger than your average Jonin. Meaning that the pain that he inflicted was as strong as a Jonin, or even a Kage. Because he was strong. Amelia, dear, would you like to fetch the slave boy Naruto? SJ would say, to a young girl who sat always beside him. His adopted daughter, Amelia St. Anne's. Of course I will, father. Amelia would walk to a tavern of sorts, which Naruto had been serving the men there, water, booze, etc. Reluctantly, of course. This was the only time in the day where his chains were off, and his body was so weak that all he could do was pour water. Pour beer, pour ale, pour wine. Sometimes special things like tequila or champagne, but he couldn't fight. He couldn't escape. He could barely run, let alone walk. Amelia would get him, getting him from the tavern and bringing him to the stables. And then, after Naruto fed the cows and whatnot, would bring Naruto to her father. Father, I have brought him. I made him water the stable first. You mean the cows and whatnot? Yes, I made him feed them and water them. Good girl. I am proud. Naruto. Yes, master. I am quite fond of you. I have grown quite fond of you. You see, when you arrived here with Otis, Prince, and some other guy, I can't remember his name. You were strong. All of you were strong. Over the years, at this point, it has only been 1 year, but for Otis, time is, for some reason, much higher perceived, so to speak. And by Otis, I mean SJ. I confused their names. My apologies. With that being said, SJ would continue. I suppose I am preceding myself. You've only been here for a year now, right? Close to it. 11 months and 12 days. I see. You keep count of time, too. Well, it's fitting to say that you were Genin or Chunin when you got here. And the 3 Jonin accompanying you broke. Their wills are completely tied. I can ask them to do anything, and they will not even bat an eye. I could ask them to kill for me, and they would gladly do it. But you wouldn't. I asked you to kill a cow for me, and you sat and let me beat you until you couldn't move or speak. But you still would not kill the cow. Otis, though, I asked him just seconds later, and he assisted Prince in killing 2 lambs and 1 cow. You see how that's odd? The young boy's will surpasses that of men. True men. And my lovely and beautiful daughter here, let's just say she needs a husband. She is getting older and older, and we are royalty. Very high and profound royalty. So, I'm just preparing. When she comes of age, 18, 19, I'm thinking that she will be married. But to who? I am thinking a strong man. Someone powerful, someone, honorable, courageous, valiant. Why not you, Naruto? You will be here the rest of your life, as long as you remain my slave. I am gifting you a chance of freedom. Do not insult me by saying no to this offer of taking my daughter's hand in marriage. I see. So you wish me to marry Amelia, Saint Anne, your daughter, your adopted daughter. Must you remind me that she's adopted? She's as good as royalty as I am. And she isn't a peasant like you. Naruto would grit his teeth, clenching his fist. You see, there's that will of yours. Does the pup not wish to bite today? Or are you saving your hatred for another time? I'm getting really sick of you. S.J. Over these past few days, I haven't been drinking that water. It's habit for Otis, Prince, and the man who never told you his name, because he was too scared of you. His name is Monterey, by the way. He was a fine Johnny back when we were still at the Leaf. And he still is. He has strength. And unlike Otis and Prince, he has will, just like I. No, your share of water, it's always gone. Are you insisting something? Are you hinting at something? What are you hinting at? I'm hinting at the fact that each and every day, Monterey drinks my water. I don't drink it. I hate it. But this has only been for a few days, for me to regain my strength. Amelia, your wonderful daughter, your wonderful adoptive daughter, she brings me food, which is what she should do. She gives me a little extra. It helps bolster my strength. Which means that I have had a full 4 days without your water. The water that slows me down, the water that makes me weak. I felt weak earlier today, but it was then that a flood of blood rushed to my fist when I saw Amelia. Because she represents everything that you are. Power, royalty. And so I was angered. And just like that, I no longer was weak. If I were to bet, I can kill you right now, S.J. And I will not be beaten as I was before. Actually, you will get beaten by my hands. Water style. Great flood. Naruto would slam his hand into the floor. Well, S.J., I suppose maybe you should drown, and then I can beat you. No, this is Earth style. Earth barricade. A barricade of Earth style would appear around Amelia, Naruto, and S.J. You see, I don't care of royalty. Special they are, maybe due to connections or an interesting past or family, legacy, origin. I don't care that much, though. You want to know what I really care about? What I really, really care about? My friends. My village. For nearly a whole year now, I haven't been able to see them. Do you know how hard that is? Thinking every day that maybe this is the day that you'll get saved. Thinking that every day maybe this is the day that you will get to return to your village and see your best friends. It's times like that that you think of the little things. Passing by a villager that you see every once in a while becomes a nice pastime. Whereas usually a nice pastime would be out with your friends. You know what I mean? Instead, my fate is this. Beaten every day by you, SJ. So you will feel every piece of my hatred. Windstyle, windstorm, wrath of Lord Odin. With that, wind would spiral around SJ, who would use an earth-style jutsu to block out the wind. Do you forget, boy? I am a Jonin myself. I do not care. Lightning style. Spear of Odin. Naruto would send a spear of lightning towards SJ, who would grab on to set lightning, using his own lightning style jutsu. It would be then that he would take hold of the spear, sending it back towards Naruto, who would use an earth style jutsu to cancel out the lightning. Fine. Flame style. Flame commander. I've used this technique once before. I killed the man I used it on. Fiery pits, I'd say. It only serves you right, Asajay, for what you've done to me and my men. Or the 3 men that served with me, rather. Now die! Flame Commander! Naruto would yell this as flames would set ablaze Asajay. Amelia would smile. You see, she too was a victim of Asajay. Sometimes she would be beaten, sometimes she wouldn't be. So she was happy, seeing the death of her quote-unquote adopted father. With that, Naruto would leave the village, but before doing so, he would receive a kiss on the cheek from Amelia. Naruto. Yes, Amelia. What is it? Do not die. Wherever you go, I do not know. Maybe back to your... Maybe back to your... Are you okay, Amelia? That water. It was specifically designed by me and SJ. But he gives it to me as well. It is a poison, a sort of toxin designed from a part of my blood. My family is royalty because our blood is poisonous to others. You see, it would be pretty dangerous if you spilled our blood and then it dripped on you and your skin was now acid. He makes me drink the water that is created from my blood, or purified from it. Now think of that times 10. The effects are only amplified if you are a member of the St. Anne's family. He knows this, which means that for years now, my body has been tearing apart. I fear that I have only a few years left to live. No, that's not right. No, Amelia, no. This can't be the truth. It is, I swear. Actually, I fear that I only have a few months to live. Less, probably. If I'm lucky, I have a year. If I'm unlucky, 1 month. If I'm even less lucky, but a few weeks. I won't make it past the new year. No, don't speak of such things. Don't ever speak of such things. I will stay. I will stay. We will live here. You will be happy in your last months, days, years. I don't care how long it is, as long as you're happy. You'll be happy with me, right? Naruto, I've liked you since the day that you came here. And I was joyed when my father mentioned a marriage. When my adoptive father mentioned a marriage. When my forgotten father mentioned a marriage. When my dead father mentioned a marriage. She would smile, dropping a tear. So if we can be together for my last moments on this earth, then thank you, Naruto. I will do everything to make you happy as well. And with that, that was true. They were both happy together until the very end. And it was there that, whilst holding Naruto's hand and watching birds fly, as the stars were present in the sky, they would smile, and Naruto would embrace Amelia in her final moments on Earth. Naruto looked down and what had happened at Amelia, as he would shed a tear, burying her body and marking it himself. He would leave, and returning back to the Leaf Village, he would tell Lord Third of all that had happened. And Lord Third would be astonished. Sasuke at this point has been training with Kakashi, and Sakura has been training with Tsunade. Naruto has been left behind in a way. This made him angry with himself. As he stood atop the highest building in the Leaf Village, a sort of beacon, with the trauma of being a slave of Asache haunting him each and every day, he would take his own life, falling down. It would be there that he fell, that he would be caught. His life would be saved by a girl with lavender purple hair, pinkish white eyes, and a smile that made her look exactly like Amelia. She wore attire that he didn't recognize. He hadn't been in the village for about a year now. And so he looked at her. He looked into her eyes as he was being held by her, as she blushed. "Don't look at me like that, Naruto. You're making me blush," the girl would say. "Yeah, we've met before." Sorry, I'm seeing a lot of faces that get familiar, and then I remember their names. We have met before. You're Hinata Hyuga, right? Yeah, I heard about what happened. You were a slave to some guy named SJ or SJ or something. I'm sorry for what happened to you. It wasn't your fault. They shouldn't have sent you. It was my request. They should have sent me because that's what I wanted. Unfortunately, I didn't know what would happen. Nobody did, actually. Which means that it's nobody's fault, and which in turn means that that I'm the only one to blame. And SJ, who was snapped dead. Listen, Hinata, in these past few months, it feels like death only follows me. I am blinded by your beauty, Hinata, and your charm. You're really, really pretty, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I know that I cannot talk to you much longer, because I don't want you to die. I don't want you to get hurt, I don't want you to get injured, and that's what will happen if I continue to talk to you. If I fall in love with you, you know? No, I don't know what you're saying, Naruto. Let's be friends then. We can be friends, and you won't fall in love, right? Right. We can be friends, Hinata. This friendship quickly grew to love, and Naruto and Hinata would start dating. End of story. No, just kidding. With that being said, after this, he would venture out to meet Sasuke and Sakura. They would catch up, and they would also be pleased to all see each other in the same place. Sasuke would tell Naruto that he's sorry about the stuff that he experienced, and that it was probably hell. And Sakura would say nearly the exact same thing. Everybody in the village, they all apologized to Naruto for what he went through. Otis, Prince, and Monterey. They returned to the village in worse states than Naruto. Naruto had trauma, maybe even PTSD, but Otis, Prince, and Monterey, they were a former shell of who they were. All accomplished jonin with life set ahead of them. They returned the people who could barely form sentences. People who would scream in their sleep, thinking that they were still living the nightmare that they thought they had been in. Which they were in. It was sad, truly. Naruto to watch how he had been spared from such things. How he had been spared by fate itself. From becoming a man with the inability to even form a word. Due to trauma and PTSD, waking up in his sleep, randomly and screaming, thinking that he was living a nightmare. He could only imagine how that would feel for Otis, Monterey, and even Prince. But he couldn't think on it too much, because it made him very sad. It made him remember the pain that he and the jonin felt. But there was still jonin in Naruto's mind, even if everybody else had forgotten who they were after they had come back. If they had forgotten of their skills and of their reputation, Naruto always remembered. These were the men that were enslaved with him by SJ. He would always remember who they were. But whilst being a slave of SJ, he heard many things. Most notably, rumors of a group known as Fiji. A organization created by rogue ninja from neighboring villages. The Leaf, Clouds, even the Stone. Never mind the other villages. Like the Mist. They worshipped a god of sorts. A man who they believed to be the true reincarnation of good. And anything good. His name being Uto. Naruto heard of this and how they killed in his name. They worshipped him, brought him blood, brought him ninja, to convert into their religion of Goodism. Where they kill in the name of good, for they kill for Uto. It was really messed up in Naruto's eyes, but he had heard many things about it, and how it was uprising from nation to nation. Fiji, the group that they called themselves, was growing stronger by the day, in the words of many men in the village and the balls. With that being said, Naruto would sleep. He would sleep happily that night, with not a care in his mind. Several days later, Naruto would wake up. He had been in a dream for several days. It was actually interesting, as while he was in this dream, he was sweating, and from time to time he would awake coughing up blood and other fluids. Naruto had no recollection of this. It was as if it never happened in his mind. It was as if he had forgotten it. But what he did not forget was what he saw while he was asleep. he saw ninja, lots of them, gathering what is known as the bones of Uto. You see, Uto, the man who, well, was quite literally the reincarnation of good, as opposed to Naruto being the reincarnation of evil. Well, let's just say, to be simple, he can fully be resurrected. You see, Uto is a constant in the world, as is evil. Evil is a constant through his numerous incarnations over the years. And Uto, well, he shares a similar status. But those who he decides to incarnate into have their bodies taken completely. It's not a slow process, 9 lives kind of thing. It's instant. Minutes, seconds even. And the host is completely Uto's. You see, Uto is a near divine being, a near immortal being. And thus, he can only sustain true immortality if he is nearly forever alive. Out of the time that Uto has not been a constant in the world through either his incarnates or physical manifestations of his own body over several centuries, the time it is accounted to is only 1 minute, as most of his incarnates submits within 1 to 5 seconds. And if he has a new incarnate every 50 to 100 years, it's really simple for it to only be 1 minute where he's not actually living and breathing as a physical manifestation of some sort, or within an incarnate. With that being said, it is said that Uto's followers, the members of Fiji, if they can gather all 27 of Uto's bones, the original Uto that is, including Uto's heart, then they will never... Now, let me get a side note in here real quickly. Sorry for this note. I'm kinda not sick. I don't know, it's just sinuses. Anyways, though you can gather his bones, you must have the heart in the center of his bones for this to work. Never mind the fact that there is one other thing that must be noted. Uto, who some refer to as Saint Uto, only has 27 bones. This is different than a regular human. Humans have many bones. I believe it numbers the hundreds, right? But for Uto, this is different, because he is a near divine being. Let's just say his body does not follow the laws of an ordinary human or anything of the sort. And thus, he only has 27 bones and a heart to keep blood flowing through his body. With that being said, Fiji, thus far, has gathered 21 of Saint Uto's body bones. Body pieces, I was going to say, but body bones, just, I don't know. Since they are bones and not necessarily body pieces, but I'm sure you all know what I mean. With that being said, Naruto saw this. He saw the men collecting the bones and how far they went for them. Several went east. Others went north. Some south and some even west. Some went deep into the hidden stone village to find only 8 of the bones. Some did the same in the cloud, only to find 4, and so on and so forth. They scoured, quite literally, the world for these pieces and fragments of Uto. It is unknown why Uto's followers, the members of Fiji, are so heavy with faith. But it is believed that for every 100,000 Fiji members. There is one who has the ability of immortality. Now, you may be asking, 100,000? That's quite a bit. Even for an organization that is said to be around for centuries, even. Well, there is a somewhat suitable explanation. Uto's men have an aura to them, so to speak. What I mean by that is they have a strong allure, a strong pull when trying to convert somebody to their faith. Utoism, to be more exact, or some believe it to be called Goodism. Well, almost all people they try to convert follow. And thus, usually their target is bandits or rogue ninja. And thus, over the years, they assemble tens of thousands of men. Currently, they have a number of 400,000, with 4 of its members having the immortality that is granted to each 100,000 members of Utoism. It is also known that Utoism brings great charm to one. And by charm, I mean people are guided to them, not just those who they want to convert to Utoism or Goodism, whatever you want to call it, but normal people. And all appear to be youthful, even when they age, with long hair, usually and mostly, that strings down even to their legs if they want it to, with eyes that pierce the kindest of souls, and even the strongest. That is how people describe them. With that being said, Naruto saw all of this, and as one of evil's reincarnates who have already lost their first life, he was guided to find them. To do what, you may ask? To kill them. To kill the members of Utoism, as it was natural. You could even say that at this point it would be known as Naruto's nature. We now skip to a dark and black room. 2 people stand in the room. One is the current body of Uto, and the other, what one would be named as a priest of Uto. Someone who would be known as a priest of Uto. Uto, in, well, his current host, would speak. Have you gathered it? Have I gathered what, Lord? Have you gathered the relics? Do you mean your bones? Yes, I mean my bones. Have you gathered them? Well, not all of them yet. How many do you have in your possession? We have 21, sir. That's good news. That is very good news. 6 more, and I will be complete. I will reach ascension. And my use for these incarnates will be no more. Do you really wish to never be an incarnate again? Well, priest, if you were, let's say, in my shoes, and you were a widely feared man, but every 50 years, you have to rebuild this reputation. 50 to 100, it doesn't matter. And rebuild it. And rebuild it. You have profits of your own monks of your own, priest and priestess of your own, that live longer than you do. And you must convince them that you are who you say you are. That you are Uto. Now tell me, when these bodies start to fail you, when they get old and frail, and you think back on your original body, a body that was everlasting, a body that was constant in this world and the next, which one would you prefer? And answer truthfully. I would prefer my original body. I understand your analogy, Lord. Good. Now you will leave this place before the darkness here consumes you. I see it, Lord. Then you must go if you see it. You must run as far away as you can. And when you get away, when you get far, far away, only then can you. Can I what, Lord? Only then can you be free from the darkness's allure. Now run! Run, priest, run! Uto would say. You see, at this point, Uto's current incarnate has reached an eclipse, a climax, a stagnant, a plateau. You see, Uto's current incarnate is failing him. His current incarnate has been diseased, you could say. He has gotten a disease of some sort that is eating away at his body. And the original Evo, well, I'll explain it quickly. You see, Uto had bestowed many things upon evil's incarnates, just as evil had managed to do the same. On a lesser scale, as he did not possess as much power, not even close, well, in a way. But it still happened. And to be frank, Uto had a curse put on him by evil. The curse was simple, yet unorthodox and unique. Let's say one of Uto's incarnates was, I don't know, stabbed in an artery or in an area. Then Uto's incarnate would lie in a pit of darkness for as long as that wound is visible or is still, hurting. Or let's say a wound closes, then Uto would be out of this darkness. But as long as his life is close to death or in heavy danger due to a wound that has already been inflicted, such as already, there, then he will stay like that for almost ever. And it's as simple as that. It was evil's greatest curse on the incarnates. Well, one of them. With that being said, Uto would cough up some blood as the priest would get far away from the darkness, leaving the room. The darkness also pulls in those with good nature. The more good nature you have, the more you get pulled into the darkness. And thus, for somebody like Uto, the darkness is constantly dragging at him. And in this current incarnate's body, he is damned to live with darkness for the rest of his days. Forever, he will be pulled by the allure of darkness, and forever, he will fight it. But darkness is usually stronger than light in the first place. So some days he fails to open his eyes in the pit of darkness. Not that he would be able to see in the first place. And some days he sits and he thinks and he wishes only for his true body. Anywho, with that being said, it was quite simple. This is what Naruto saw in his dream. And he knew exactly where the saints and priestess, as well as priest, of Uto were. And so Naruto would leave at nightfall that day. He would enter a camp filled with members of Utoism. And it was as if being guided by the devil himself that he would kill every member of Utoism. Granted, the people he were killing were bad people in essence. Their actions were bad, but they felt that they had good intention. But either way, they had killed many people before. Many innocent people before. But either way, Naruto killed them all. 390 people were killed by Naruto's blade that day. And so Naruto sat alone in his own pit of darkness. It would be then that he would reach another camp. But this camp, it made him want to kill more. So much that it was the only thing on his mind. And within, he felt a disgusting presence. It was one of the immortals of Uto. One of the people who would be known to be called the 4 heavenly angels. The 4 heavenly saints of Uto. Grand priestess. Grand priest. Grand saint. It was then that Naruto would kill nearly all of the men in the camp. This time, they only numbered 100, but they were stronger than the ones that he encountered before. And as he walked out of the camp, filled with tents, homes, etc., that had been homed to many people who believed in Narutoism. Bad people, to be more exact. He saw a man in front of him. This man now appeared behind him and yet again in front of him. Naruto paused. Another survivor. Fine. I'll kill you like the rest of them. Naruto would bring out his blade. His eyes were crimson red. The person that you all know was no longer Naruto. This was evil himself, actually, taking a hold on Naruto's soul. And so now we switch to a place filled with both light and darkness. On one end, there was a beast scratching away at his cage inside of Naruto. This is the Ninetales. Somebody who we all know as Kurama, the QB. One of the tailed beast, the Ninetales fox, the demon fox. But on the other hand, on the other side of Naruto's conscious, is a man named Evil, grabbing Naruto and holding him still, latching on to Naruto's soul. Naruto fights Evil's grasp, but in the presence of members of Utoism, Naruto isn't himself. Far from it. Naruto is barely even... Let's just say Naruto is barely even strong. Because what makes Naruto strong is not his power, but it's his morals. And this Naruto does not have any. You could actually call this Naruto evil. Like, evil. Evil. Anyhow. The member of Utoism would see the rage and darkness within Naruto's eyes and would say the following. I am member of Uto. They call me Eris. Eris, you say? Well, do you know what they call me? No, but whatever you are a damnation of evil, and thus you must perish. You're right about that. But you're wrong as well. Because I'm not merely a manifestation of evil. I am evil. What was your name again? Eris? You know, this Utoism that you follow. Several years ago, well, for me, several centuries, or for you, I guess, it doesn't really matter. Members of Utoism were members of evilism. Members who served me. You see, I created the religion that is now known as Utoism, because even I knew that there was to be a balance. That where there is good, there must be dark. Where there is light, there must be dark. Where there's evil, there must be light. Yin and yang, my friend. I am not my true form, obviously. Look at me. I am in the body of a mere boy. My hair is blonde yellow. He would pull a strand of Naruto's hair out and fling it to the ground. But most of all, I am merely an incarnate of evil. This is the true evil speaking to you. I do not have a hold on this body much longer. But with the hold that I do have, I will kill you. Uto, Archangel. Naruto would crack his neck. You see, I'm not really fond of you. One of the men given immortality by Uto himself. Well, Eris, it is your lucky day. If you kill me, you kill Uto's greatest enemy. Not like I won't return again, but, you know. More the merrier, am I right? Evil within Naruto's body would appear in front of Eris. You know, Eris, he would then begin to choke him. You know, I have lived for centuries now. And though my true body remains locked away in a pit of light, in a beacon of light, I can appear here before you and talk to you. Oh, do you know how long it has been since I've talked to a human in the flesh? He would put down Eris from choking him. Eris would gasp for breath. You're insane, not just evil. Oh my God. It has been decades since I have been able to even crack my knuckles. Do you know how amazing cracking my knuckles is? You wouldn't even believe it if I could tell you. You said that you have full control over this host. Why can't you tell me a mere simple thing as how good it feels to crack your knuckles? That means that the incarnate is still within you, Uto. He cursed you so that your incarnates had good nature. This spell that I am to cast, this jutsu that I am to cast, will bring out the good nature in your incarnate. Come forth, incarnate of evil. Bring forth your true manifestation of good and holiness. You're speaking to a mere boy. He will never hear you. What are you doing to me? I am removing you from something that you should never be in. A mere boy. So you're sparing my incarnate. You know, I will make you pay for this. Evil would continue to cough up blood within Naruto's body. If I can, if I have to, I will remove both you and your incarnate from this world. Though, I absorb darkness from those who I channel good nature into. There is always a flaw in a jutsu, a spell, magic, whatever you archangels call it now. That was all I wanted to know. Well, you know, a clock, a pendulum to be more exact, would appear in Evil's hand as he would continue to tap at it. Wow. Time is ticking, am I right, my friend? And since this is the defect of your great spell, how much more of my darkness can you absorb? Aris. My wings. Are they turning black like charcoal? Or gray like thunder? I know. It hurts, doesn't it? Your power, your divine and holy power is being stripped away from you, isn't it? It's not my fault, might I add. But it's all the same. You are dying, Aris, and the darkness within you eats away at you. Chomps at the good that is left. And when it is done with you, I can't talk much longer. Though I mock your spell, I even call it useless in some ways. It does work, and I can feel my own body pulling apart. I'm no fool, might I add. I'm not the kind of guy to sit around while his host is decaying. And I've been talking to you for quite a long time now, haven't I? So I suppose I will end things. The real Uto, sitting in a pit of darkness. He usually watches his followers, and he can feel when there is a disturbance. A disturbance as big as, let's say, 300 to 500 members of Utoism. That can, give him a bit of a hint. It can trigger a bit of his foresight to look and see what's happening. But a member of his holy four divine great archangels losing their grace, losing their good, well, that cannot be excused from his foresight. He can see everything that's happening as they speak. I suppose I will end this now. Aris. Naruto, being controlled by evil, would outstretch his hand. As darkness, a black substance, would appear around his hand, taking the form of a string, or even a rope, it seemed. It would fly to Aris. Aris, let my lure pull you in. This is meant for you. You're meant to be evil. Now give in to your temptation, you lowly servant of Uto. Evil would pull. With that, resistance would be met. But Aris, his heart, would now rest in evil's hand. Naruto couldn't do this. Killing somebody so good, even though he was evil's reincarnation, he couldn't stand for it. And so, he fought it. But evil's pull was too strong. When in the presence of a real archangel, Naruto can't do anything, especially if his own life was threatened. Earlier, Aris made a comment. It was about killing both Naruto and evil. Meaning that, through both his nature through evil and his own human nature, his human instincts, he cannot spare the man. Because if he does, then he will die. And there will be nothing left of him. With that, Naruto would let evil control his body. Well, Aris, he would look into Aris's eyes, which were now light blue with charisma. They changed. His eyes were originally brown. One was brown, and the other was hazel green. Wow, I'm no fool. Uto, are you watching me now? Uto was in fact watching him. Well, I have only one thing to tell you. This is my current incarnate. His name is Naruto. He fights me off well. So don't kill him until we get to meet each other once more. Oh, and this. He has his own beast. It is foretold within my own psyche that he will conquer and triumph this beast. So, yet again I ask you to not kill this vessel of mine, even if you want to. So lay your paws off of him, Uto. I will spare this archangel of yours if you can promise me that. Uto would take hold of the archangel's body. Something that he can do. Taking hold of his servant's bodies. It is I, Uto, who now speaks to you. Let my archangel go. Let your archangel go. It's not that simple. I need your word. I need you to swear to me that you will lay your hands off of this incarnate. You know I cannot do that. You threaten an archangel. Evil would reach deeper and deeper into Aris's heart, grabbing it and starting to pull it out. Uto, you can feel your servant's pain. Do you wish for him to die by the hands of evil himself? You said that you cannot because you are sparing him. You said that you cannot because you cannot spare somebody who threatens an archangel. Well, let me tell you this, Uto. Or should I refer to you as your real name? Uto Good, leader of Goodism, servant of evil, leader of Goodism. You mustn't refer to me by that title. That was a millennia ago. I am no longer your servant to evil, and you shall know that. But yes, you can be spared. Good. That's the right decision. Rather a live, half-heart taken archangel than a dead, no-heart taken archangel. Archangel, they paint. I will take my leave now, and you will not hurt this body. Goodbye, Uto. Naruto's eyes would return to a normal color. And Uto, controlling his servant's body, would take the archangel back to him where Uto would restore the Archangel's wings and bring him back to the light. With that being said, this is where I'm going to end this part. By the way, this is being recorded on my birthday. It just became my birthday, like, I'm actually looking at my Naruto clock right now. There is no batteries in it right now, so it is not moving, but I did go and look. I think the time is, I'm actually going to check while this video is playing, so, don't at me, guys. But the time is, a lot of ums here, you know how it be. 12:26, so 26 minutes ago, it became my birthday. Yeah, if you guys could wish me a happy birthday, even though this won't be put up on my birthday is August 31st, for any wondering, but it would still be appreciated. I should put a similar message to this in the front of the video, but that depends on if I remember it. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as it would be deeply appreciated. And with that being said, Rami X out. I have a what if to go.